So my name is Arnaud Michon. I am the brand president for Omega in the US. Don't worry, I won't be too long because you're not here for me. Just a few words about Speedy Tuesday because I don't know if you know, but the story began in 2012, and Robert Yan had his Speedy on the wrist, and it was a Tuesday in Cannes, and the Speedy Tuesday started at that point, and the rest is history. And since then, Speedy Tuesday it's synonymous of the growing passion, the growing community of fans sharing together their stories, their life with their Speedy Tuesday. So it's thanks to you, thanks to people like you, loyal and dedicated fan of the brand, that we keep pushing the boundaries, we keep challenging ourselves. So thank you for that. Thank you for being there today. We're amazed to share our passion of Speedmaster together with you. I will now let the mic to our head of products. He's coming especially from Switzerland.
It's a big pleasure for me to be here in New York, in this fantastic city. I'm here today to talk about the new products related with the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. But you are also here today to see not only the movement itself, the 3-2-1 movement, but the product, the platinum version. I have to present you now Robert Yan.
Thank you. I prepared some words, 3 pages, but I'll try to keep it short. So first of all, welcome all of you. I'm very happy that you made it and that you are here. I don't want to rehearse the story all the time, but I also believe that it's important that you know what it is about. And it's not about the Speedy Tuesday 1 watch, and it's not about the Speedy Tuesday 2 Ultraman watch. It's about the community. My dad always told me that Omega was the brand that put the watch on the moon, on the wrist of an astronaut, of course. I quickly found out which watch my father was talking about. And as Gregory said, my parents and grandparents and even my great-grandfather were wearing Omegas. This is the watch from my childhood hero, and I'm super proud to have it on my wrist also today. These stories is what it makes what Speedy Tuesday is about. It's about stories. It's about whether you have 1 Speedmaster or you have 50 Speedmasters, and I know some of you have even more than that. That doesn't matter really. I think it's about sharing stories with each other, with the community, that makes Speedy Tuesday so much fun and such a nice community. Speedy Tuesday would not even be here today without him, basically, and without his influence. So I'd like to have an applause for Chuck Maddox. And I would like to invite Mr. Wirtz here on stage to share his story about his space adventures.
Well, hello, everybody. It is so great to be here. I kind of feel like I'm with my people at a Speedy Tuesday event, especially the Omega crowd. It's amazing to me just see how many people are passionate about this brand. It was February 2010, and you start your morning at crew quarters. You get dressed up in your suit. You drive in this big van. There's a big crowd of people, bigger than this, cheering for you. You get in the van. When you come up to your rocket, you just sit there and you stare at it. It's this amazing giant thing. There was smoke coming off. It was a cold Florida morning. You could see steam coming off the tank. So it looked like this hypersonic dragon coming to life. The experience of shuttle launch is amazing. This is my favorite picture. A guy named James Vernicatella took this long exposure from a canal there in Florida. We're launching towards the moon, and there was this one. There's so many moments that happened during launch. The whole chapter 1 of my first book, View from Above, is about that 8.5-minute ride. But my first one was in a shuttle, and my second one was in a Soyuz, the Russian, basically ICBM from the 60s. They took the nuclear warheads off and put people on top, and so they were very different experiences, but both really fun. We had this over a decade process of putting this thing together piece by piece. It's 1 million pounds, over 400,000 kilograms. It's a big spaceship. And, each one of these modules weighs about 30,000 pounds. I brought up that guy, which is called Node 3, and then that little thing at the bottom, which is the cupola, which is everybody's favorite place in space. It's this big 7-window module, like observation module, and it's just awesome. My favorite thing to do in space was take pictures. I ended up taking more pictures than anybody ever. There's some poor guy in Building 8 at the Johnson Space Center whose job it was to count, and I ended up taking over 319,000 images. And this is the cupola. So I got to install this module in 2010, and then I was back in 2014 and 2015 to film a movie from it, which was pretty awesome. I knew there was going to be thunderstorms, and this is what thunderstorms look like at night. And one night I did this, and I looked inside, and the whole inside of the station was flashing. This is the galaxy, and it just overwhelms your eyes. You see so many stars, it's pretty humbling. And this is the last picture I took. It was literally the day I was coming home. I was getting ready to go, and I wanted to get one more sunset over Earth picture, so I got the 10 millimeter wide angle lens on, and I shot this picture. And I remember looking at the preview monitor on the camera, and I thought, this is the best picture I'm ever going to take in my life. I'm done. And so I turned the camera off, took the card out, downloaded it, and went down and got my spacesuit on and came back to Earth. But this is my final picture in space. And so that is my story of kind of what I did in the Air Force and at NASA. And I think we're going to do a panel next. So thank you very much.
You were a fighter pilot as well. Can you help us to understand the difference between flying a space shuttle and a fighter jet?
Yes. So actually, I just wrote a chapter for my new book about that, because they're almost unrelated completely. The basic skill of what we call staying ahead of the jet, just thinking about what's going to happen next and mentally, thinking ahead is the same. But the mechanics of, in an airplane, you pull back and the elevator moves and the plane climbs. In a space shuttle, if you want to, over time, you actually speed up and that makes you climb. If you want to go down, you slow down and that makes you descend. But it also makes you speed up. So there's all these completely not intuitive things that happen when you maneuver a spaceship.
So to the X-33, we want to cover the X-33 a bit in this panel talk, and you are an experienced user of the watch.
Yep.
And Gregory can tell us a bit about the development of the watch. But first of all, can you elaborate a bit on the strange model name X-33?
Strange name. It's like the Alaska project.
Yeah.
So the name X-33 came actually from the code name that NASA gave to a very special space shuttle program, space shuttle project, developed by Lockheed Martin. And they almost finished the prototype.
Right.
95%.
Right.
And that's why Omega, because it was at the same period of time, that's why Omega decided to take this name as first as the prototype, but then they decided to take this name as, as the model names.
And Terry, you used two Speedmasters in space, basically. You had one on your suit for EVA, and X-33 for onboard events and tasks.
Right.
Which one did you find easier to use and to read? And were you aware of the fact that the Moonwatch was on the suit? Did you use it for timing events and tasks?
Right. So the X-33 was what I used 99.9% of the time. But on the Russian spacesuit, they have a Moonwatch, a manual watch on a big elastic band, because when you're in the spacesuit, let's say there was a leak in the Soyuz and it went to vacuum, the spacesuit puffs up. So this band would just pop if that happened. So they put it on like a flexible band, and that was, if all the batteries died and there's a leak and you're stuck, that was like the one thing that you knew would work.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank you.
Thank you.
So.
All right, and 1, 2, 3.
I invite you to come over and have a look and give it a try. and then later on I'll get you again to the restaurant. Have fun.